Painters put oil on canvas. Poets put words on paper. Artists of all times, when they do those things, hope to elicit a response from their audience, all the while knowing that the observers who see their work, the listeners who hear their words, may each be interpreting what they have to show us or what they have to say differently. This is Rod Carlos Rodriguez. You've got a bio of him. He is our guest speaker, obviously. When I invited Rod to read today, I gave him a copy of UU's 7 Principles, and I asked that he select poems that relate in some way to one or more of the principles. It's his choice. The poems he will share are from his most recent publication. You've got it on the front of the order of service, Cantos Incandescent, a beautiful little collection. Let's listen and let's see what traces of UU thought you hear resonating in Rod's work. What do you say?
Thank you, Jose. Gracias.
Hang on, that's me.
You?
You got to turn off.
Okay. Can everybody hear me all right? Okay. I was told to use my outside voice. Some of these pieces may be a little deep and hard. Sometimes life is, I guess. I've been writing for over 40 years and still trying to find that perfect piece. And this book is quite for me anyway, an accomplishment, and I'm going to keep going. This first one is called Counting Corona. He's sitting up today. The machines make their usual beeps, breaths, groans. The cough is muted a bit. I can see a little more light behind his eyes and a weak smile just for me. Lucy, his usual nurse, wearing blue scrubs, is counting to herself again behind the mask. She doesn't think I can hear her whispered cadences on my computer screen. Even after just 6 days since Jose was admitted, I find solace in Lucy's counting. Jose motions the nurse to bring the camera on the laptop closer to him. The stale sweat, the mucus sliding down the back of his throat, I imagine, smells horrible to Lucy. I clutch the corners of my computer screen, feel its sharp edges dig into my flesh. Today I will not cry. He must see strength from me. Helena, I feel a little better. His voice grates against the plastic walls around his bed as he looks at me through the camera. Just this small effort tires him out. You're such a trooper, Jose, I respond. No tremble that I can hear in my voice. Lucy keeps counting. The doctor calls at 2 a.m. Jose is on pure oxygen now. I wipe the sleep out of my eyes. Guilt craters the lining in my stomach for drifting off. I look at the computer screen, hear his coughs, hardly a pause between breaths. I'm here, Jose, I'm here. He barely turns his head. This starts another coughing fit. Lucy is not in the room. The machines are counting for her with beeps, breaths, and groans. Jose settles down finally. And my tears, finally. The computer screen grows cloudy as my cheeks are gouged with wet streaks, eyes staring, waiting with the machines. The moment Jose is placed on the ventilator is when I start feeling a tickle in the back of my throat. At least he's not coughing anymore. Lucy is back with her counting, wearing peach-colored scrubs this time. The machines breathe, beep, and groan for him. I find myself breathing with their rhythm through the computer's speakers. I manage a weak, "I love you, Jose." Lucy says he can't hear me. I don't believe her. I thought I saw his leg move. I count the Tylenol in my hand. The doctor emails me the just-in-case paperwork. He says I need to sign it and email it back as soon as possible. I wish Lucy would stop counting. And this is from the perspective of, well, Lucy. Letting Lucy. Lucy listens to the clock on the wall. It runs on AA batteries. She's had to change them a few times. Her patients in the ICU love and hate how she counts the second hand. The loud clicks slam and explode in her head. Slam, 1. Slam, 2. She is ready to quit today. Corona has killed more people here than she remembers. Slam, 3. Slam, 4. Joe, an orderly from the ER, passed through the ward. He lasted 2 weeks. You did your best. It's what the doctor is supposed to say. She doesn't believe him. Slam, 10. Slam, 11. She counts aloud. It helps lessen the blow of each second hand, hammering in her skull. And this patient, she looks at the chart. A Jose Rivera, who croaks at his wife, Helena, or something like that. Lucy grudgingly brings the computer closer to Mr. Rivera. She decides to come in tomorrow. Give it another day. Slam, 50. Slam, 60. Jose in the next room coughs and coughs. Sorry, I keep messing up. Joshua, thank you so much, in the next room coughs and coughs. Lucy always waits for the second or third round of Josh's cacophony. He never disappoints. There's no clock in his room. She can close her eyes a little if it weren't for the damn machines, their beeps and groans and the coughing. Lucy quietly counts the coughs. Ha, 1, ha, 2. Is there a believable excuse to not come in tomorrow? Lucy adjusts the IV, stares at Josh's once handsome nose and chin. His face contorts with each cough. Lucy needs a break. Next shift break is in an hour. Mrs. Rivera is crying again. Lucy's lost count of the woman's weepy fits. No battery in the clock. Lucy is tired and is still ready to quit. One of the staff nurses left Mr. Rivera's legs hanging off the bed. Really does look like the leg keeps moving. Machines keep breathing, beeping, groaning. There Lucy's new clock. Breath 1, beep 2, groan 3. Mrs. Rivera's coughs through the computer act as a counterbalance. Lucy's ready to inform the head nurse she quits. Cough 8, cough 10. She even has a plan. She'll wait for Mr. Rivera. He's almost done. Coyote Lullaby. Dawn paints his cheeks in fluid pinks and grays, handcuffed to the rusted car's bumper night before last. He listens to coyote lullabies that echo amid a Texas desert's sandy, sweet fragrance. Water bottle, still half empty, rocks as a newborn next to the sage bush and the ocotillo, 10 feet away from a tongue swollen, a mouth frozen in 100-degree screams. And the dinero he borrowed in Juarez for this passage, it flies past the lullabies, sails between cerveza symphonies and topless lap dances 2 nights before last. Even as his breath is a child's rasp, he caresses pitted, sunburned lips. If he's found, maybe the blanqueador of his bones will match the pale stones at his feet. He wishes for one last lullaby. Concrete yoga. Old town frozen. Forlorn houses, train tracks still bear the train's weight. A studio, hidden behind old homes, a large and full-throated sign, declarative and sure, faces small town attitudes and thinking. Monster trucks and water towers hover nearby. Reminds those within this studio how new age this yoga thing is. Unwavering, they still wave hello to closed-minded neighbors at the gas station, the grocery store. Town center, close in its disquiet, suspicions linger in silence. This concrete has set. Its rebar of open minds and breath strengthens and fortifies souls in harmony, in peace with yoga of concrete. Spill. There are poems in high gloss, silk satin, and matte finish, dribbled on the floor while painting the room in off-white and gray. These poems are small splats and bigger dollops in baby blues, rumbling reds, quiet chocolate, and cinnamon abbreviations. Turpentine cannot wash them away. Scrubbing only spreads their message. Innuendo and liminal reach to all corners. And now I've tracked their wisteria purple and dandelion yellow to other areas of the house, on stoops outside, in cobblestones of once immaculate streets, foxfire red versus invade police stations, cerulean sky blue rhymes pepper town halls, and once gray neutral federal buildings. My haiku handprints celebrate on flagpoles in sunset orange and hunter green. These poems stain sidewalks with lazy pinks. Fuzzy maroon pantoums drizzle on COVID-empty arenas and cast a pall over silver sparkling highways. Rainbow plaid rivers rush through valleys, glowing in gold and copper sonnets, pour into luminescent lakes, rippling over my iridescent living and breathing room. This is another heavy piece. Here and now. Here and there. And there. Brianna went to sleep. She was tired from a long shift at the hospital. She received the gratitude of a body riddled with police bullets in her bed. Rosy flowers of blood bloom beneath her. And here, Eric needed some extra money by selling cigarettes. He was met by a police chokehold, gasping his last breath. His last thought was the flowers he planted that might be blooming in the garden he loved so much, hoping their green leaves will help someone else to breathe. And there, Tamir loved playing with his toy gun, pretending he was justice in a small town, protecting the little park area from any bad guys. The sheriff's bullet ended Tamir's playtime without any warning, his 12-year-old heart pumping his blood, creating red carnations in the snow where he lay dying. And here, George didn't have anything smaller than a $20 bill for his cigarettes. The police officer's knee kept George from thinking about whether or not the $20 was counterfeit. A small filament of blood escaped his nose in his last breath, as his last breath was for his mother, begging to breathe. Somewhere and elsewhere. And somewhere, American protests are spreading as fast as a COVID bouquet. Both the police and federal agents tear gas blossoms in streets, burning for a George, a Brianna, a Tamir, and an Eric, an Andy Lopez, a Sandra Bland, a Mike Ramos, a Carlos Ingram Lopez, and so many more. And elsewhere, murder hornets took their decimated and beheaded honeybee hives and went home. They saw how fucked America was and wanted none of it. And somewhere, Karens and Kevins are screaming at being told to wear masks. They're screaming at multi-hued people in parks, at pools, at grocery stores, at Starbucks, just for living while hues of the rainbow. Karens and Kevins, too concerned with these inconvenient truths, taking their sacred freedoms to shoot and maim and dominate lesser people of colors, resplendent and rich. And elsewhere, the desperate climate is still changing, flexing its muscle in menace and malice, billowing through Earth's mantle. Gaia's mood is frothing and boiling oceans, her silent cries ignored as poison grows on delicate reefs. Right then and right now. Right then, you changed your mind by realizing your privilege and fragility were ingrained. They were kneaded and massaged into your alabaster skin the moment the doctor snipped that umbilical cord. They were watered and fed with downpours and sun-drenched ultraviolence. Right now, another Rod Carlos Rodriguez or Maria Lopez or Anthony Baez is waking up to lives rendered broken, sabotaged, denied the promise that all men, women, LGBTQ are created equal? Are there different levels of equal? Is equal planted solely amid finer homes and security in your city on a hill devoid of color? Right then, booths are being made ready for the shit show. Lines will form rainbow petals that circle buildings, streets, and cities. They will shape and curl into the largest human constellation of events in history. Right now, plans are being fashioned around planets and stars that taunt our dreams. Needles of fire will sprout through sand and cement, stealing resolutions, eyeing Luna, arching for Aries. Here and there, somewhere and elsewhere, right then and right now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so very, very much for sharing that with us. Wow. You know, when I do these, when I invite poets to come, there's a certain amount of time involved in getting a feel for what the poems are going to be. There's an invitation, and then you see the poems a lot later, and then you got to put them in a PowerPoint, and you got to pray that you time them properly and all that kind of thing. So I read them over and over and over to myself, and I try and imagine how he would read it, and I can't do that because each poet has his own voice. And what I heard today sounded so much more eloquent, so much better, communicated so differently than when I was talking to my dog who wanted to know what the heck is going on. Wow. Well, I left my book behind. Thank you. God bless you. So, today is the last day of the month in which everyone celebrates Pride. We do that here. So I thought we would close our Pride Month celebration by reading number 576. Now you can remain seated, but if you've been listening to the poetry, you're laid back right now, so what we want to do is sit a little more erect, take a deep breath, bring the voice from underneath. Because what I'm going to ask you to do is to read the responses forcibly. It's not a long line, but say it like you mean it. 576, a litany of restoration. If, recognizing the interdependence of all life, we strive to build community, the strength we gather will be our salvation. If you are black and I am white, it will not matter. If you are female and I am male, it will not matter. If you are older and I am younger, it will not matter. That one probably won't happen. If you are progressive and I am conservative, it will not matter. Not that one either. If you are straight and I am gay, it will not matter. If you are Christian and I am Jewish, if we join spirits as brothers and sisters, the pain of our aloneness will be lessened, and that does matter. In this spirit, we build community and move toward restoration. Blessed be.